A Liberty Seguros agora é Yellow. Tudo aquilo que já era bom continua igual. Excelência e proximidade permanecem como nossa essência. Porque não é uma mudança, é uma evolução. A Yellow está sempre em sintonia com você. É liberdade com segurança. A melhor experiência acessível a todos os clientes, iluminando cada passo da sua jornada. Deixe essa luz iluminar seu caminho. Yellow Seguradora. Seguro para viver livre. Consulte seu corretor.
Welcome back to the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy. Today, we have two guests in the house. Before we get there, let's go ahead and bring in the other co-hosts for the night. Jake, let's start with you, man. How you doing?
Doing all right. Did a bunch of chores today. Threw up my back a little bit, That's about it.
Right on.
Hell yeah.
L. Jeffrey, what's up?
Yo.
All good?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. You ready?
Good. I'm always ready, man. They call me El Ready Jefe. That's like what they call me. That's my name.
I have heard people say that. It's crazy.
They say that.
I've never heard anybody say that.
Well, you don't watch movies.
You're right. I don't. All right. Let's get to the guests today. They are the hosts of the Reality Czars Podcast. We have Nate and Thomas in the house. Nate, Thomas, what's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Dude, fantastic. Thank you for having us on, man.
Hell yeah, man.
We are on best behavior tonight.
Yeah, I'll try to be on my best behavior. Yeah, we're on platforms that I'm probably not allowed on. So I'll be good. I'm going to try to be good. And my wonderful co-host down there, Thomas, the paranoid motherfucking American. Can I say the F word? Is that a thing allowed on?
Yeah,
Okay.
Say it first and then ask. That's how it works.
Cursing's good, man. You're good with that.
Can we perform actual curses on a live stream?
I don't know. What do you mean by
probably? I didn't see that in the TOS anywhere, so it didn't.
Like for I don't know, sacrifice a chicken and summon Beelzebub or something. I don't know.
Well, I don't want to make any assumptions here, but
Wait, let me grab my tinfoil yarmulke, and then we'll be good. And I can do it.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. So let's start off just talking a little bit about the Reality Czars podcast. How did this start?
It started like in the middle of lockdown, like during the heat of it, during things that I don't know if we're allowed to talk about, little stabbies and things like that. We were in Northwest Oregon, me and the original co-host, Tony, and we were part of like a weird like agorist community. So we were like, like weirdos, radicals that like weren't going to get any pokes, weren't going to wear masks, and we're going to do whatever the fuck we wanted to do. So a lot of, what's the best way to call it? Like black market anarchism. So if the store wasn't going to allow us in, then we were going to do what we wanted to do. Like we knew our farmers. We were, buying, selling eggs, barters, anything under the table, no taxes. And we met. He was the only guy that volunteered to help me. So like my wife's aunt had a pig farm. And there's a long explanation. Maybe you were looking for a short one. But anyways, long story short, we went up to Washington to meet some other radical weirdo anarchists up there. We taught like a pig slaughtering like class and how to break down the meat and all the fun stuff. And on the way there, I had my teenager and like his buddies in the back. They were going to help us. And we just had this fucking awesome conversation. And the kids were asking us about like wild stuff. We were like teaching about like 9/11 and all the fun stuff. And we were like, dude, this could be a show. This would be a lot of fun. And so that's kind of how we started, just like back in the day. And this was like StreamYard, but we didn't even know how to use it. So we'd like use it over the phone. Like the audio quality was shit. And there's some people that go back and listen to the old stuff. If you're fucking hardcore, you can. We were talking about wild, dumb shit. Then Thomas joined about probably like 2 years ago, huh, buddy?
Yeah, I think we were just doing chick track read-throughs.
Yeah. And me and Thomas just clicked and had a fucking great time. And my co-host at the time had moved to like where the fuck does he live? Anyway, somewhere on the East Coast. and he was like, his work schedule didn't kind of like mesh with mine. And so like, I was kind of doing it solo. And then Thomas came right at the perfect time. And I was like, dude, you want to be a co-host? Because he had come on like 3 or 4 times. And so he kind of became a co-host without being a co-host. And then the rest is history.
Thomas, I heard you do like 8 podcasts.
I get around. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a podcast slut. I like it though because I can test the waters on other people's shows, and Nate has people on. I don't even know how the hell he gets into some people's sort of like caller IDs and whatever that are like, they won't answer me, they'll answer Nate. He'll pull some big names. But we can also just say what, like Nate doesn't care. Like, so we can just say whatever the hell we want on Reality Czars. So it's great to kind of figure out where the lines are. Like there's no line on that show, but you can figure out where your personal line is, which is like a really cool sandbox to play in, I think. That's kind of why I started doing this anyways, because I would be invited on and we would get into some topics, but like I wanted to get a little bit deeper, but a lot of the topics that you get into in conspiracy and paranormal and stuff, even like religious topics, there's always like a certain line in the sand where you're like, whoa, we're on insert corporate, platform name here. Right. So anyways, Reality Czars is one of those places that we ended up being able to do that into any capacity. Again, I started out reading some of the more worse of the Jack T chick tracks that I think even mentioning the names of some of them would get you taken off of some platforms.
Yeah. That's also how we bonded, because I was a hardcore chick track going in and out of church and stuff. They'd fill my pockets with chick tracks and they'd have me like handing them out and stuff. And so like I was a big fan of that since a fan in a weird way. And so me and Thomas definitely bonded over that. And so the rest is history, man.
Anybody listening right now, if you guys haven't figured it out, there's no filter on these guys.
Thomas can put on a corporate face. He reels me in sometimes.
Yeah, I'm very corporate friendly if I need to be. I can slip in and out of it, like, and take it on and off like it's a hat.
I'm your retarded, like, drunk uncle that like can't be stopped, and it works well.
So Thomas, you had said that Nate has the hookups on some big names. I seen that you guys had David Icke on.
That's probably one of the bigger ones. Yeah, absolutely. But also, like, I've just gotten introduced to so many other people through Nate directly. Charlie Robinson was another pretty big name that we had on here. We had Tony Merkel on a few times that helped me get connected with Joel Thomas. We've had Cryptids of the Corn on there.
Oh, yeah.
Just lots and lots of massive, and in the podcast kind of worlds. And and I think it's just because Nate's so easy to talk to, and he can just kind of like BS on any topic, even if he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Like, he can just BS on it anyways. He's a great conversationalist. He always, he makes you feel. He cares about your pleasure.
I do. I'm a giver. Yeah, I'm a giver, dude.
He's a giver. He's a definite giver.
Right on.
That's funny, man. Are you guys? You guys deal with all media? You deal with Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. We're hardcore alt media united. Sure.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we're all on there as well too. Yeah,
Yep.
there's a lot of people in that group too, man. A lot of big names. So yeah, you get around that circle, you could definitely like meet some cool ass people that are in this like weird community,
We should work with that a little bit more.
Love Steve. Yeah,
it's been a while, man. To be honest with you, I haven't talked to Mark in fuck, man. It's been
Steve,
yeah. I haven't talked to him in, I don't know, a year probably. I feel like a dick, but how it is. Life carries on, and you just get sucked into other shit. But Mark, if you're listening, what up, bro? Miss you, dog.
Mark's not listening.
He's not listening.
But if he is, hey, Mark. So, Thomas, last time that we were on the Reality Czars, you were talking about your comic, man. You were getting ready to release your NASA issue.
Yeah, that went well, man. That dropped last month. I've already gotten all the different copies shipped out and everything. I sold out of all my little NASA fake moon landing play sets.
That's awesome.
That I'm trying to make more of and stuff. And it was kind of cool too, because in that release I included a few of my conspiracy cards, and then as soon as I got all the initial ones out, I listed the conspiracy cards on the site, and they basically sold out overnight, and I had to like get a whole bunch more printed, and then those ones are like 80% sold out again too. So maybe I just stop everything. I'll stop podcasting, I'll stop comics, I'll stop music, I'll just make more conspiracy cards. That might end up being like the route forward now.
So is that the website you have there? Is your name paranoidamerican.com?
Paranoidamerican.com. Yeah, it's something that I've been running since 2012 at least. The first comic I started working on was in 2006. And that was the thing that I started at Disney, was Paranoid American. And that was kind of the reason that I ended up leaving, was because I wanted to just ended up doing it full time.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna have to snag a couple of these, man. The Never a Straight Answer. That was the name of your NASA.
That was the latest one. It took about 5 years. It's a 40-page comic about Stanley Kubrick directing the moon landings. And I guess the twist on it is that it's not necessarily like the focus isn't about, okay, we're going to convince you that Stanley Kubrick did in fact direct the moon landings. That's just happening. That's just de facto happening in all the pages. And the rest of the comic is just about things that happen while that's going on. It's almost like The Office, where you never really see them sell paper. Maybe once in a while, like they're talking about selling paper. But even though like this entire show that's been on for multiple seasons about a paper company, but it's never about paper. It's just like the crazy antics of the people that work there. And that was sort of the premise of Never a Straight Answer, is that what are these astronauts and the cameramen and like these random people doing? What about the CIA handler? How easy is it to handle Stanley Kubrick, this guy that's obviously a strong personality? So that's kind of where the nugget started for Never a Straight Answer.
Shit's awesome, dude. I love it. I'm gonna have to snag that one. I see it's so you got it on sale right now.
For now, because I've got that one cover, and as soon as I have to do a reprint, it'll go to the regular price. But I try my best to make them as affordable as I can, because I would rather have more people reading it than make like an extra $1 or $2 or something off of the book. Because I think that's really where I want to get into, is I want more and more normies reading these books too. I want them to be incredibly accessible. Kind of like a Jack T. Chick thing, where you're like, hey, why are these people stuffing these comics in my pockets? And then you go home and you're like, oh, all of a sudden, I've got a different religion than everyone else, and Halloween's going to send you straight to hell. And why do I think that? I don't even know, but these comics are so great, I'm going to keep reading them.
Nice, man. I brought up your website here just to kind of show everybody.
Yeah, and that's the main cover right there.
Hell yeah, man. Good shit. There's your conspiracy card pack.
We got the pack. We got the Bohemian Grove playset, because I said the Never Straight Answer one is sold out, and I've been cooking on like 3 or 4 new ones. I'm gonna have at least 2 or 3 Bigfoot playsets coming out soon, especially when me and Nate release the Bigfoot pamphlet. I've been working on an Illuminati one. I've got a Statue of Liberty one. I've got a Skull and Bones with George Bush naked in a casket as a playset. The obscene right, for awesome. Anyone that cares about the fine details. That's
how are you making that? How are you making those play sets? Like, what is that?
So I find like Lego compatible sort of figures and stuff. They're called MOCs, make your own creation, within the Lego realm. But I just find the right ones that fit perfectly in these little blister packs. And yeah, I mean, like over the last weekend, I was just searching for all the new Marvel minifig figures coming out, and like, all right, I'll take the head off of that one, and we'll take the hat off of that one, and the body off that one, and just kind of mix and match them. I'm always on the look, and every once in a while, I'll see something like, oh my god, I can make a Bigfoot Elvis if I get these 2 pieces. So that's one of the things that might be coming, is I might have some Bigfoot Elvis packs coming. I also found some Abraham Lincolns. So I might have like an Abraham Lincoln assassination play set. I definitely am doing for Christmas. I hope I can get it done time. But Santa drinking pee. It's just like him passed out next to a reindeer and a bunch of mushrooms.
Jeez.
But it's like Santa is a mushroom, or I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but I already know what the theme is.
Right
this
on,
is amazing, dude. This is genius, bro. Because honestly, some of these, man, like, I'm thinking about buying these and just never opening them and just seeing what happens in like 20 years, right? Like these could be something, right?
Oh, this will be bigger than Bitcoin. You'll get rich off of these within like a year even. Yeah, you don't have to wait.
Some of these, dude.
The other cool thing too about those play sets is like I just did a Ocala Comic-Con recently, and which is a fairly big comic convention. I think like 8,000 to 10,000 people went through. And you would see people go by, and the kids are like attracted to the little toys. Oh, daddy, I want this one, right? And like the dad, oh yeah, what do you got over here?
Like
and then you'll just see like either like sheer look of terror because they picked up the Hillary Clinton Super Predator play set. It's got like a separate head that's rotating with green light coming out of it. And either they'll be like, oh no, put that down, and like just whisk them away, or you'll get like a smirk and like, oh my God, is this for real? And I don't know, I love the intersection. Yeah, this is the one right here. This one, because when I have it out on the table, that little head that's on the table there's actually a light that lights it up and it illuminates, and like there's some green ones and red ones and stuff, but it's a showstopper. Like people walk by, you can't help but turn your head and look at this. And now all of a sudden there's 8-year-olds that are like, Mommy, Daddy, what's a dree something? And I just think that's the coolest.
That's awesome. What's adrenochrome? Right?
It's one of those words you can't say on Twitch.
Oh, whoops.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It depends on the context.
So
If you stop yourself and you say that's not real, no one actually believes that. It's a science fiction thing. Moving on.
Yeah.
They mentioned it in the Boys TV show, and that's what we're talking about now.
Allegedly.
I'm looking at your stuff. You got tons of episodes already, man. How often do you guys post?
Not enough for the amount of not enough for the amount that we actually record, dude. I am so fucking backed up. I have months and months of content, which kind of sucks. I work so much, I don't have time. But yeah, I try to put out 3 episodes a week. We started a new started out like a news a news network. We call it Schizo News Network. And we try to talk about all the weird fucking wild shit you haven't heard about. And it's pretty spicy, dude. Like, so anybody listening to this, like, if you think anything I said has been offensive so far, we get really hard in that. We have it's nuts, dude.
It's like Faces of Death and like Lenny Bruce, if Lenny Bruce was writing his comedy in 2024.
We're definitely covering like pedogate stuff. We're talking about chimping. We're talking about like.
That's awesome.
This is also one of the trading card packs all have a sticker, and that's one of the stickers that gets random insertedly in some of the packs.
Dude, I've got so much space back here. I got to get some shit off your site, man.
You got some Birds Aren't Real stuff? Yeah, I got a Birds Aren't Real membership.
Oh yeah, we got Birds Aren't Real. Dude, my goal is sort of be the Walmart for conspiracy themed entertainment. So that's toys and comics and all the things. I kind of want to be the one-stop shop. Like if you want to be offended or if you want to offend somebody else conspiracy related, like I got it all. I even got like a new X-rated section.
You need an office chick, dude?
Do I need an office? I mean, yeah, always.
Not me. I know.
Yeah, right. We'll go.
Talk.
He'll show skin, dude. Don't worry about it.
We'll talk, bro. We'll talk about it.
All right. So let's get into some more of the podcast stuff. Let's go, Nate.
Yeah, brother.
What are your favorite topics? Let's start there. What do you like talking about?
Well, I started like talking about like politics. That was like the big thing that I was really into. And then you kind of realize it's just all fake manufactured. And so you can talk about that. But like, then I started really getting into some of the cryptid stuff. I went full retard for a minute because I had been kind of normal. And then like, when you first kind of get conspiracy pilled, you kind of jump down every single rabbit hole. And I was like pretty sure that about like Tartaria, that every mountain used to be a fucking dead giant and all kinds of weird shit, So like I've done all the fucking weird rabbit holes, but the ones that I always go back to are definitely Bigfoot and definitely the elites for sure.
Allegedly.
That's what they said in that Boys episode, at least.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm with that, man. I've definitely been like so far down all the rabbit holes that like I've been on the craziest end of every spectrum, of the conspiracy game. Yeah. I mean, some days I'm like the earth is flat, right? I've argued to the death with dudes that like the earth is definitely flat, right? Proper model too, not like these
next day he's like, no,
you're
right, it's round.
Right. Yeah. And then the next day I'm like, nah, man, like I'm totally in on like secret space program, breakaway civilizations shit. And then the next day, like gravity's fake, like you said. It's just, Who knows
100%,
anymore
dude.
at this point? This whole thing like with AI and nobody's going to know anything, the deep fakes and everything's just going to be so hard to understand. It's like, bro, I'm already there, dude. I've been there for like 10 years, man. So bring it on. Let the deep fakes come with all the weird shit that nobody can understand and parse through what's real or not. Cause it's like, welcome to my world.
Hell yeah, dude. And as soon as it gets good enough, we're going to have like AOC doing anal and it's going to be great. Like there's going to be some fantastic.
We're already there.
Yeah,
They've already passed
I know.
laws. There's already there's laws being passed. Where did I just see this? Like California, probably
Newsom, yeah.
one of these places where like if these deep fake celebrity or public figures and deep fakes, like you could be prosecuted for posting that or creating those.
I'm pretty sure our intros and outros are illegal in California.
They are felonies at this point in California.
Dude, your intros are sick.
I need one.
I haven't heard the outro yet, but the intros are sick. I've heard a couple of them. It's that gospel one that you were talking about.
Dude, just dropped. We promoted it today. I think was the first official use of that.
Was it?
The gospel one, yeah. It's
And
good.
that one is definitely a felony.
Full felony.
I'll have to check that out. As I was looking for it, I heard a couple of them, duplicates of a couple of them. I'm like, man, this can't be it. I thought there was a gospel one. So I'm happy to hear it just wasn't out yet. So have you ever seen something crazy, man? Like talk about Bigfoot? Anything like that?
You ever seen a dead body?
Yeah, I've seen too many of them.
A few.
Wait, do you guys want to see one right now?
Yes, let's go.
Check this out. No, I'm just kidding.
As far as Bigfoot goes, man, I have had a telepathic communication with one, which kind of sounds gay and retarded, but that was we did our first Bigfoot documentary called The Search for Psychic Sasquatch. And so me and a couple friends and my son actually got to come, which was a lot of fun. And we went looking for Bigfoot out here in the Pacific Northwest, like northwestern Oregon out here looking for him. And we all had a very similar, like, telepathic communication. Every single one of us, we kind of felt the same thing. He was telling us to fuck off is what he was doing. Because we were getting near this one area and we were having like, it was a male talking to us. And he was kind of saying like, my family's down there. And that was kind of like the feeling we got. Like if we were going to continue going down this area, he was maybe going to fuck us up. And so we didn't go down that area. Yeah, I don't know. I have never laid eyes on him, and I'm not 100% sure that he's ever going to let me. It's one of those weird things. I mean, we were actually just talking with Chris Matthew today about a little bit of this Bigfoot stuff, and whether or not he is some sort of interdimensional creature, or if he is just like maybe some weird kind of hominid that is kind of more advanced, at least like telepathically and psychically, and can kind of like we've had a lot of listeners on, and one of them sent me some photos of like, it looks like almost the outline of a Bigfoot, but it's glimmery, right? Where they can kind of make themselves invisible. They can blend into their situations. I don't know, dude. It's an interesting thing. I hope I get lucky. I hope Bigfoot's going to let me see him, because we're planning on doing some more filming actually pretty soon. We've had some credible, as credible as you can take it, sightings out here. And pretty recently, actually, in my neck of the woods. So I think we're going to try to go out there, me and a few friends.
You guys ever tried to reach out to somebody like Ron Moorhead to see if he can come on and talk about that kind of stuff? He's got two wild books. He's got Quantum Bigfoot and Voices in the Wilderness. Those two books are incredible when you're talking about the Quantum Bigfoot or the Mindspeak Bigfoot. But then if you want another guest, reach out to Carter Bushard. He has these three books right here. They're Evidence of an Enigma 1, 2, and 3. And he does, I believe he's out of Missouri, I believe. Forgive me, Carter, if you're listening. Either Missouri or Arkansas, one of those two. And he does all the Mindspeak stuff with the big feats. And he has some really, really interesting stories. His books are just... they're all about his investigations into the Mindspeak Bigfoot. And he talks about certain cases that he deals with, and some of the cases show up in all three books. And he's more than willing to openly talk about all of them.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, after the show, we should talk about it. You should give me his email address or something. Yeah, I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah, he's great. Great stuff.
Oh, yeah, dude. I love it. Yeah, so, I mean, those are kind of mostly the topics we talk about, but what fun about our show is that we don't ever just talk about one different thing. It doesn't get boring. We have, like tonight, we actually had some folks on that were talking about like abduction experiences that they've had. And then simultaneously, like we were talking with Chris earlier today, and we were talking about like, I don't believe in aliens. I think it's bullshit. But like, dude, honestly, after having this conversation, they kind of fucking opened my mind. I still keep an open mind after all this shit, dude, which is a lot of fun. Thomas reels me back in because he is our skeptic. You'll tell me.
I'm a respectful skeptic. Sometimes.
So no crazy experiences for you, huh, Thomas?
Not really. I mean, psychedelic related, pretty much every one of them. And when I was a little kid, I lost a stuffed animal that I swear was there. But that's pretty much as far as it goes. Although I have had some really interesting psychedelic experiences, not even through me, but while like this is, I guess, where I kind of pushed me over because I was raised Roman Catholic, which is basically the best way to raise an atheist child. So by the time I was done with Catholicism, atheist, but then I get into psychedelics, and then that kind of whips me into maybe agnosticism / regular old Gnosticism, where it's like, okay, well, maybe I don't know. Maybe there is something that's like undefinable here. And it was in particular Salvia divinorum. This was before it was illegal in all the different states. And I just remember seeing this thing and how it affected everyone I knew. Because I mean, as soon as I found it, I had to share it with everyone I knew. But the similarity in some of the experiences and like the very specific things that people would hear, see, feel, and just go through, and then come back and tell me this from vastly different walks of life. I mean, I'm talking all over the gamut. I mean, even when I was at Disney, I was like, hey, you ever tried this salvia stuff? Yeah, let's go. And even them, right, with like no prep, no sort of biasing, like they hadn't seen the YouTube videos or any of that. So anyways, that in particular was like entities and this lady Salvia, where people would report like, I saw a lady, like specifically there's a lady there and she's either telling me like I can't come in this door or yeah, like come in this door or whatever. And it was just so wild that over 2 decades of introducing complete strangers to this and hearing these exact same descriptions over and over again. Like, I don't know how else to understand that through any other lens. I've looked down all the skeptic rabbit holes and all the research. I know about what they call our form constants. If you look up form constants on Wiki or something, like this is where people repeat seeing fractals or spiderweb patterns or honeycomb patterns, and it can be explained based on the arrangement of cones in your eye and how the brain is created. But nothing describes seeing like a consistent little entities and seeing a woman and hearing a woman, and the fact that Salvia is also named, I think, Pastora, which is like the lady shepherdess or something, and that they also call her Lady Salvia because even people from before America was founded also were having these exact same experiences with like a lady talking to them. So, I mean, smoke this plant, you hear a lady talk to you and introduce you to entities. I feel like I can't be an atheist after going through that and seeing other people go through it so many times. So I don't know if that counts as alien experience or ghost or whatever. That's the absolute closest that I've been.
Thomas, I just need to know though, 1 through 10, how fuckable is Lady Salvia? Does she have some sweet tits and a fat turd cutter?
I don't think anyone's like seen her face outright, dude. Like like in my experience, it's always been like a lady in the shadows, almost wearing like a veil or like a cloak or something.
So, damn, I never heard of this with Salvia before, but I'm guessing it's the same concept as like the machine elves for DMT and stuff, right? Where everyone that ends up taking it ends up seeing these things.
Similar, although I haven't had that same experience whatsoever, even myself or talking to other people. Like some people have reported these like little machine elves and stuff, but it also feels like they're already familiar with Terrence McKenna's work. They've heard about the DMT machine elves and stuff. This Salvia stuff, like someone be like, I've never even heard this. They haven't heard of Salvia. They've never seen a video on it. It's such a niche little thing. And not only are the entities there, but this lady and like what she does and the whole like there's a gatekeeping aspect where the entities are there and they're basically telling you either like, hey, come with us, you're ready, or they'll tell you, oh, you're not. Like this what the hell is this guy doing here? That's actually one of the more common themes that started to blow my mind way early on. This is when I was in high school. I was like 16 or something. Maybe even not that, because I remember I found salvia before I could even drive. So like 15, 16, this is like the mid 90s, right?
Yeah.
And I'm giving it to all my friends, and it just was labeled incense. It's all it said on the bottle. Like, we didn't even know what the hell it was. I had to like search online to figure out what the hell this stuff was, and it's linked to CIA, MK Ultra and stuff. But I'm doing this, and people are explaining like, I did it, but I was in this room, and like there was people laughing at me, and they were like criticizing me and telling me that my whole life was a lie, and like, this isn't fun. Why did you give me this? You know? But that experience, it's so crazy that there was always this form of gatekeeping. You would go into like this purgatory, and then the entities, whether it was the lady or these like little cartoony looking things, and they would tell you like, you're not ready, you are ready, come with us, don't come with us. It was a very binary thing. And some people would like, they finally accepted me. They get all like excited and stuff, and they passed this test. And again, dude, this is something that would constantly happen over and over with different people reporting the same like checkpoint, like they were playing Mortal Kombat or something, and after the 5th time they finally figured out how to kill Goro or whatever. Like, that was almost how it felt with some of these.
That's crazy.
It's interesting because I've had a similar experience to that. I mean, I've done salvia multiple times, DMT multiple times, but the first time doing DMT, I actually had a similar experience to what you're talking about with this. Like, I encountered in what I would call the void, right? Maybe it was deep space, but there was no stars. It was just the void. So purgatory, I guess, right? And it was a female entity. I couldn't see it, but I could sense like a female energy that was there. And it was almost comforting me in a way while I just existed in that space for literally all of time. Like, I watched time go from before it existed till after it existed, and then waking up, like just being mind fucked that it was only 12 minutes. But it was similar to what you're talking. Like, I didn't see machine elves, and I've never seen machine elves, but I have encountered like female energies on DMT that usually comfort me. You know, it's usually a pretty pleasant experience. But
that's crazy, man. That's it. There's a lot of parallels here with near-death experiences.
I mean, we've talked about this a lot on the show, and I think a lot of people talk about this all the time. For me personally, I think that psychedelics is more of like a lifting of a veil. You're opening something to where entities in other dimensions, if you will, maybe they are demonic, right? Maybe they are whatever they are. I don't know. But when you're doing psychedelics, I do believe that you are unfiltering your brain to an extent to where you can receive signals from other places, right?
Well, I think it's almost like an amplifier for like an antenna, which are like real things, right? If you went and put an antenna out to get some signal, but then you can like boost it with energy,
right?
And that's kind of what's happening at a biochemical level too. That when you do a psychedelic, usually what it's doing is it almost has like these uptake inhibiting qualities to it. Especially we're talking about DMT and MAOIs and all that stuff to like get the perfect blend. But what it does is it forces all these extra sort of like neurotransmitters to be constantly in your system. And normally they wouldn't travel too far because your body uses it up. It's like, oh, there's a sweet neurotransmitter there. Let me go ahead and suck that up and make use of it. But when you're on a lot of these psychedelic drugs, your system's flooded with it. So now all of a sudden they're moving around. They're going farther than they normally would because it's your entire system's saturated in it. This is what causes like the synesthesia, where people will be like, oh, I can smell the color purple, man, like all these things. That's because the neurotransmitters are literally like jumping over the normal boundaries. So you are literally smelling purple because there's so much going on that it's a flood. And if you're in that sort of a state where your body is just being incredibly receptive to everything, like everything's on full blast, maybe you're kind of like amping the antenna and you can pick up some extra signals. It's about as far as I'll walk into the woo-woo on that.
Yeah, to me, honestly, man, what you're talking about right there, and I've experienced this right firsthand multiple times. Like, to me, that's what, like David Icke, going back to that, that's what he's usually talking about, or that's what I gather from it when he's talking about like the holographic universe and things like that. Is like there is some information field that we're able to tune into. And probably not so much now, right? Because we're just fucking consuming all kinds of bullshit, and who knows what other kind of frequencies they're hitting us with. But the natural us, going back ancestral us was probably able to tune into some of these frequencies, especially doing some of these psychedelics, eating mushrooms and shit like that, right? And they were able to communicate or whatever the fuck, pick up some
if you
other shit.
Catch your breath long enough from running away from saber-toothed tigers and starvation, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I do like Terrence McKenna's idea. I don't know if it's his idea, but he talks about like the stoned ape theory a lot. Us evolving, eating mushrooms off the ground, and just that having an influence on our consciousness and our brain forming and that kind of thing over the course of however long it might be, right? Like, I love that shit. But, there's an idea too. I'm sure you guys have heard this too, like the idea that the spores are like the intelligence, or like somehow bringing the intelligence. Like if you were some super intelligence, how would you seed your intelligence into the universe? Would you send ships or would you send spores? Right. So is this all some just like,
it was the Paul Stamets mycelium theory. I don't know if that's his, but he definitely has made it popular.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Jeff,
what?
For second episode of the new year, I'm doing stoned ape theory. I've got Terrence McKenna's Food of the Gods here.
I'm gonna eat mushrooms for that one.
That's fine.
You guys should get a chimp and feed the chimp mushrooms for that episode, if that's even possible.
Become a person.
And then interview him.
See if he grows a consciousness.
Call PETA and see if they're okay with them.
That would be the cool. That would have to be like a video episode for sure. But if that were a series, I would watch 100% of those episodes.
Somebody's doing that somewhere. Like, there's a laboratory somewhere, right?
It's just on the black net, probably.
Yeah, just feeding chimps mushrooms.
And not the dark net. I mean the black net.
Ooh. Such a thing, huh? No? Okay.
He doesn't answer
shut
questions.
Up, Jeremy.
Shut up, Jeremy. All right. Either you guys got questions?
No.
Not that I'll answer.
Not that you'll answer?
I won't answer questions.
No.
I don't answer questions. I'm traveling. I'm not driving.
All right. Let's I got a little bit of news for you guys. I don't have the source with me right now. But apparently,
who needs a source?
You guys are going to love this. The Webb Telescope, right? The new telescope that they have out there, apparently found signs of life on a planet.
Sounds like baloney.
Life that we would recognize?
Yes.
Wait, on which planet?
I don't know. I just breezed over it at some point today. The James Webb Telescope. I'll see if I can bring it up. Telescope finds life.
Man, see, here's the thing, bro. I've been fucking harping on this shit for years, man. Like this whole, I don't know if you want to like lump it in with Project Bluebeam, but I guess it is, because to me that's just like an umbrella term for fake, an alien something, right? Fake extraterrestrial threat, right? It doesn't have to be holograms in the sky or anything like that. It just has to be.
Well, I think originally too was Jesus. That was one of the a predecessor to Bluebeam. Was it Mongoose? I don't think, maybe it wasn't Mongoose, but there was something that the CIA was trying to stage in Cuba for Castro, where they were going to shoot a bunch of fireworks in the sky, and they thought they could convince all of the religious bumpkins that the fireworks were Jesus and this was the second coming. And and I think that was like some of like the rudimentary kind of play school versions of Bluebeam. So it's usually about it's some like global thing that's supposed to unite the world, whether it's an external threat, the second coming, an apocalypse, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think they're trying to make something that's going to be everything to everybody. It's one of those sketchy, weird things, dude. And it's one of those things too, where I think it's like connected to, like the Lucius Trust. It's connected to the UN, them like doing the grand invocation that they do every year, trying to bring about what they call the cosmic Christ. And I think it's very well connected to things like, I was just reading an article on my stupid show, Schizo News Network, where they were talking about all these different UFOs that are supposedly visible right now. And this is like having dissemination from like the CIA, ex-CIA agents, and all this fucking Department of Defense. And I think they are trying to fucking get us to think that there is something bigger, scarier, because that's every comic book ever, right? That's like Ender's Game. That's like that one with the blue Jesus with the dot on his head. I can't remember the name of that one, where they're going to fake an alien invasion, or I guess in Ender's Game there was an alien invasion, and that was the only way they could unite the entire Earth. All of a sudden you can get like everyone to kind of come together, right? And yeah, I'm very fucking skeptical of there being any life anywhere else. I don't know, dude. It's interesting. And if so, if there is that visible, whatever that life is it fuckable? I think that's the most important thing that we have to ask. But yeah, dude, I don't know. I'm very fucking skeptical because it seems like maybe that was Plan Z, right? Like they like to do that sort of thing, right? With like the voice to skull technology. That was one of the first things they did to the folks in Guantanamo Bay, where they were sitting there and talking to him like, hey, this is Allah. And I want you to tell them everything you know, right? Where they try to, they try to play that. So I think they're going to try to be anything to everybody, right? So I don't know, dude. It's bizarre. It's weird.
I'm with
and
you, man. I'm 100% with you, man. Anytime anything comes up that becomes like global news, like obviously this
right.
global health crisis that we went through, and this, before that it was like this global terrorism threat, and like these type of things,
global warming,
right? Climate change, like all of these things, they immediately throw red flags up for me because, like any of us know, when you read what they write, because they put this shit out there telling you like, hey, we need some form of crisis in order to enact whatever it is, our great reset or our little occult fucking whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So when I see this shit, it freaks me out a little bit because it's like, oh yeah, you found some life out there, right? I'm waiting for like the Starship Troopers or like the Hell Divers narrative to hit, right? I was just talking to this. Was I talking
like
about this
Tomorrow War? Yeah,
we were talking about this last week. I'm like, man, Helldivers came out at the perfect time. I don't know if you guys played that game, but it had that Starship Troopers-esque, like overly sarcastic, like we gotta save democracy, right? And that came out at the same time that like all the politicians were like, oh, democracy's under threat, right? Blah, 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 blah. So it was like perfect timing. So like here, James Webb Telescope finds life on fucking Mars, whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, so you're telling me that basically bugs are going to hit us soon or whatever the case is.
Right. The only good bug is a dead bug.
Right. And I've seen a lot of news. In fact, last week, Jeremy, you were talking about like an asteroid or a second moon or some bullshit. Mm-hmm. Like, I see this all the time, man. Popping up.
That should be visible tonight.
It is tonight. Tonight's supposed to be the night. 2 months, everybody.
I think that's the thing is they know that nothing else is really going to get us fired up, right? Like we're all so numb with the pace in which crazy shit's happening, right? Like World War III is happening every fucking day. So
I think if anything, we're more tame now than we used to be. Like I've got a knack, like a strong interest in looking up the history of Mormonism because it's uniquely American. There's not a lot of religions that you can say like, oh, well, that's specific to America pretty much. There's a handful of them. But Mormons, the OG Mormons, they took like the doomsday prophecy stuff and like the world's ending and world wars are going to be fought and like all this stuff. But they wouldn't be vague or say like, oh, in our lifetime or, in our kid's lifetime. They'd be like, next April, all this is happening. And then it wouldn't happen. And it'll be like, well, that's because we prayed it away. But now it's happening next April. I'm like, but it's so fascinating to see in like, I guess, pre-internet and like unions and pre like national communication lines that the doomsday cults were way more specific and they were way more like it's in 2 weeks from now, like it was always like in the matter of the moment. And now it feels like the same thing, but now everyone's kind of like, oh crap, someone's going to find this post where I said the world's going to end in April. If it doesn't end in April, then I'm kind of screwed. So like they might push it out like a couple years or anything. But it's nowhere near how much it used to be. It's the same way that if you go and read old newspaper articles from America in the 1910s, 1920s, 1930s, like every other freaking article is Moloch this, and we found Sumerian, ancient communities here, and like underground lizard, reptilian cities found in California. And like, if anything, our great grandparents were way more occult. They were way more in tune about talking about entities from other planets and stuff. Like that was way more the norm than it is now. Now it's almost like everyone's acting like they just found some secret, like, oh, my great grandparents would never know about this stuff. Like, actually, they probably knew way more. They probably schooled you on Sumerians.
Now you can only find it in the tabloid section in the grocery store. It's not mainstream news anymore. Yeah.
Everything's
Right,
so
but it
diluted.
definitely started that way.
Yeah, everything's so diluted too. I mean, all the I mean, I hate using the term misinformation because that term's so fucking overused, but it is true, right? That especially in the conspiracy world, it's like good luck. And it's funny because I can actually spot let's say a new conspiracy theorist from a mile away because they'll say some shit and I'm like, oh, okay, you piece together like 3 or 4 of those theories that I used to watch videos on back when YouTube was the Wild West, and it's like, I see what you're doing here, right? It's this whole new thing. It's just weird to me. The whole thing is fucking a shit show.
It's funny that we started off talking about your NASA edition for your comic, right? Because exactly what Jeff's talking about. Whenever I get contacted first by like a conspiracy theorist or someone who claims to just be getting into the topic, the first thing they want to say, did you hear that the moon landing was fake? And it's like, no, man, tell me about it.
Oh, that's cute. You believe there's a moon? I like that one. What moon?
I think our 100th episode, I think it was, we did a whole space is fake debate.
Mm-hmm.
And
which wasn't even really a debate. It was more like a 3 or 4 on 1 fucking pile.
No, it was
still got wrecked, by the way, too, just for the record.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 1-on-1 and we were just, kind of stoking the fire. That's what we were doing.
The peanut gallery.
Yeah. But I can't, like, the amount of people who listen to that episode specifically and then will message me and say, oh yeah, space is fake because they faked the moon landing. It's like,
like, bro, you missed the plot, dude.
Like, I've heard the opposite to that too, which is one of my favorite conversations that I've had. Shout out to my homie Maverick from Maverick Approach. But I do this thing like with 10 questions, or maybe it's more than that, but I'll just rapid fire and ask people their opinions on stuff. And I was asking him one time, and basically he didn't believe that the moon landing was real, and he didn't believe that space was real, but he does believe that we could land on the moon. And I was like, how did those answers work out? But in fact, it was one of the more logically cohesive explanations that I've heard before, and that's that space isn't real. It's all localized. Is the local sun, local moon theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
That says that the sun's like 3,000 miles away and the moon's even closer than that. So he was explaining, well, if that's the case, then the moon's actually way closer than NASA says it is. So it would actually be way easier to get to the moon, especially if it was localized within our sort of, little atmosphere, ionosphere. So kudos to that concept, because it's the exact opposite, right? It's like, instead of thinking, well, space is fake because the moon landings were fake, this is like, no, space is fake, but moon landings could be real.
Just not the one that happened back in
it just wouldn't be in the moon in space. Well, I don't know. Like, even that one, right? Even the 1969 Apollo mission that they put on TV, even that could potentially have been a real landing just on a localized moon. In this theory, right?
It was the Truman Show. He landed on the set.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or it might be a real moon. It just happens to be a local moon.
Yeah, the local moon in the hangar in Arizona.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of like blending the two theories, really. I like to think that we are in some kind of localized system, but maybe it is, I don't know. It's got to be some blend of the two. There has to be some realm, some version of space that exists, right? Obviously, I don't think that the information that we're getting told about this realm is correct, right? Like the numbers, the distances, all of the things. There's got to be something in there that's fudged, right? So to me, space is fake is as simple as that, right? You just fudge one thing, right? You fudge gravity, right? What is gravity? How does it function? You fudge that, boom. Space as we know it is fake, right? It's a whole different realm up there, and it operates in a different way than what we're told, and they're doing other things up there than what we're told.
I'd say I believe the official narrative about space as much as I believe the official narrative about JFK assassination.
Right.
Man, there's got to be a good reason why they're holding on to that. There's got to be some really incriminating shit.
Oh, you ever heard that the moon killed JFK?
No, please tell.
No, I just made that up on the spot.
Oh
but it
shit!
sounds
I was
cool.
gonna say, man.
Thomas, my favorite version of the JFK assassination is the one with who was the fucking president of Haiti, Thomas? That's my
Papa
all-time
Doc.
favorite.
Papa Doc Duvier.
Papa Doc.
He summoned evil voodoo spirits on JFK because JFK canceled support of Haiti.
Oh.
He took full credit. He was like, no, I 100%. I was the one.
I did it. Yeah. I think I've got two favorite. Well, I've got three favorites. My number one favorite is that JFK reached total enlightenment and his head just exploded because his brain couldn't encapsulate this divine knowledge that was bestowed upon him in that moment. The other one is that Jackie killed him, which is just a fun one to talk about. And then the third one, which I almost feel could be legit. Like I don't know. I don't know where I'm at on it, but he was accidentally shot by a Secret Service guy. It was totally unintentional. He was like running, had his finger on the trigger, had his safety off, was like, oh crap. And then they had to like craft this whole narrative around this Keystone Cop sort of like Three Stooges situation that they found themselves in.
Right.
Now this part, I think this is factual. Let me just state it like it's fact, but maybe it's not. But I also heard that JFK at that point was on so many different like drugs for syphilis that he basically had what you would call like a syphilitic brain, where you start going crazy just because of untreated STDs, which kind of checks out for the whole Kennedy family line, right? But that he was in like this zombified state anyways, so that they were kind of king kill ritualing him because he was on a decline and they didn't want to see him decline any further. And even the limousine that they had him take out that day, either it was a modified one that had the top down, or they put the top down, but all of that was completely irregular. Like all those things lining up were totally irregular. So it was almost like the Trump thing, right? Where it's like, how come no one's paying attention to the roof? How come you got all these like? How come like the day shift is guarding you today? How come we didn't get like the sweet stripper night
Joe
shift?
Schmo is recording the gunman the entire time, but no Secret Service agent can see him. Yeah,
like 30 people that are like, "There's a guy up there."
Yeah.
And the cops are just like,
"What? Where?
What?
A lot of ETs over
I got
and
your
over.
nose.
Dude, rough.
Yeah, I get asked all the time why I don't cover the moon landing, and it's that in Bigfoot. Like, why don't we ever do a deep dive into Bigfoot to prove that it's real? And it's like, man, I don't
have
see
the money.
It's just beneath us. It's beneath us.
I know. I don't see a purpose in doing it. I don't see a purpose in doing the moon landing.
You got to catch Bigfoot, dude. If you ever want to prove anything, you got to catch them. There's no other way. There's no number of podcasts on the planet would convince someone until you actually capture them.
I don't need to convince anybody about that, man. Like I think we talked about it when we were on your show, but I saw Bigfoot when I was 9 years old. I don't need to convince myself.
Right. But to other people, like they got to see it too, right? They got to feel it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I just don't see a reason for.
Listen, we just got to get the funding, a little bit of funding. It's not hard to do. You know, I know
cool
some
mill.
people,
Come on, guys, pony up.
We'll all go to
milk.
Dinky Creek.
We can do it for $20.
Bigfoot experience, and we'll blow a freaking hole through his chest, and we'll take him for science.
Told you I ran into what's his name, Don Shealy.
Yeah, why didn't you get him on the show yet?
I don't know. Just haven't.
Because he sucks.
Procrastinate about everything.
It's garbage.
In my life.
Means nothing to me if you don't get him on the show.
Procrastinate about shit. But yeah, I ran into him over here at fucking Wawa in Florida.
So let's say we catch Bigfoot. Does it instantly become like bestiality if we have like ladies fuck him? Like, or do we have like a new website? It's kind of like dog fart, or you know what I mean? Like you just have all these white women that just mount Bigfoot. Like, is that cool? Or is he considered a different species?
Foot fart. I don't know, man.
It's called a foot fetish.
The level of Thomas and I have well, Thomas and I have definitely looked into the Bigfoot erotica, dude, and it's hot right now, bro. Like,
I'm sure it
there's
is
so much. Yeah, if we could actually get a Bigfoot and then we could actually kind of pimp him out, we'd make a ton of money.
Speaking of cryptid erotica, apparently Mothman erotica is nuts.
What does Mothman's dong look like, though?
Whatever a moth's dong looks like.
Yeah, it doesn't sound appealing.
It probably does the same thing as like their nose does, where it curls up and then it just, unwinds.
Or is that the man part?
Oh, maybe it's the man part. Maybe he's all moth except for the man part. he's got man knees, man thighs, man dick.
The furry community's loving this.
Everything else, moth. Loves lights.
I actually came across, this is going to sound so wild. I came across this article a while ago about a guy that works for the government, and he works for like some department of invasive species, right? And there's certain types of moths that are invasive versus others that look similar. And in order to determine whether or not the moths that are in an area are in fact the invasive species, you have to dissect a moth penis in order to like figure out exactly which of these species are. So there is literally a job in the government that someone's profession is dissecting moth penises.
What does that pay? I'm looking it up.
Probably more than you make, man. Well, what do you do?
Imagine
I'm
the
a
grants,
professional
right?
Moth.
What is the title? I Googled moth penis dissector.
Yeah, that's probably about right, man.
I'm a moth penis dissector by profession. Reddit. Thank you, Reddit, man. Nerds
That's the one. The guy was like, it was like Glass Lake Refuge or something. Grassy Refuge. But he had like a whole blog on all the different peni that he had dissected, moth penises that he'd cut open. So if anyone knows that dude probably knows what a Mothman penis would look like.
You got to get him on the show, dude.
We do. Like, man, there's a mystery to be solved here, sir. Oh, good stuff. All right. Let's see. Let's send it over to the chat really quick. Let's see if they have any questions while we're talking about the next thing. So anybody in the chat, if you got questions, type it up and we'll send them out. Until then, what do you guys got coming up? Anything good?
Yeah, dude, we got some fun stuff coming up. Well, we have David coming back on in November, but we also have some pretty interesting ones coming up. Let's see. We got JT for JC. He's a pretty awesome guy. We're going to talk to him. We're going to talk to Thomas, who's the guy that we're talking to next weekend that you're not. I don't know if we should talk about it. You're not friends with
I might not be well, yeah, I don't know if I'm even going to go to that one. It'll probably not be as helpful as it could be.
All right. Well, we're going to get into some like eschatology.
Some anti-Masonic goober.
Yeah. So we're going to get into some like N-world eschatology. We're going to get into some like Christian Zionism, all kinds of wild shit. That's going to be a fun one. Dude, we got all kinds of fun stuff coming up. I've got a couple people that I think we're talking to the fittest flat earther too. He's a fucking fun guy. Yeah, we got some fun ones coming up.
The fittest flat earther, huh?
Yeah. Go check him out on Instagram. He's fucking awesome.
So I reached out to David Icke months ago, and I think it was his son that sent a reply to me. And he basically like set up like, hey man, so when, where, how long, that kind of stuff. So I replied, never got a reply back. So good on you. We got to talk about how. Yeah, I do. We got to talk about how you got that.
Let me email him as well. We'll blast. I'll put him in the email blaster.
Got it.
Yeah,
we'll just fire him out, dude.
Just spam,
dude. I'll hit him with some calls from India. Like, dude, we'll fucking, dude. I'm selling him a car warranty and all that, dude. He's coming on.
All right. Well, doesn't look like we have any questions from the chat. We only have 9 people in here right now. We're doing this an hour later than we normally do, so got a lot of sleepyheads out there.
I'm one of them.
Sorry, man. I appreciate that. We had already had another one lined up, and so I had to move in an hour.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good. This is fun. All right. Where can they find you guys? Let's go. Let's do that real quick.
Well, I always tell people they can send me their hate mail, love mail. They can even send me their dick pics, especially if it's a Sasquatch dick pic. I shouldn't say send me your dick pic. Don't actually send me your dick pic. When we were on Tinfoil Hat, I said send me your dick pic, and then probably less than a dozen people I think actually sent me a dick pic.
It's a numbers game.
Honestly, if you do get a Sasquatch dick pic, please send it to me. That's great. So you can all hit me up at realityczars@gmail.com. I promise you that I'll read your message. I'm pretty good at getting back to people. I used to promise that I'd get back to you. I'm 99%. I promise that I'll answer an email that you send me.
Do you rate the dick pics?
20. Do you rate it? Yeah. Did you rate? Did you like give anyone a thumbs up?
Like, nice curve, bro.
Oh, to the left. All right.
Yeah.
Dog leg left.
To the right. Wow, that's abnormal. Nice. Good job.
Dude, we probably could set that up. Like, I don't know. One of these days, if I keep saying that I'm going to start a Patreon and then I never do. But yeah, if you want me to rate your dick pic, I guess I can. So you're going to have to pay me.
My wife says I'll send you my puppy's dick pic.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Red Rocket.
Yep.
Thomas, where can they find you, bud?
I mean, the best place is pretty much always going to be paranoidamerican.com because I think that I got some control over that one. So even if I get taken down off the other platforms, that's always my home base. And then the Bigfoot comic that Nate and I have been working on is at doesbigfootexist.com. And I got a whole list of other ones lined up behind that. There's illuminaticomic.com that I'm working on with Donut about the Bavarian Illuminati. I've got one called titaniccomic.com, satanicpaniccomic.com, a whole bunch of other comic.coms of these pamphlets that are going to be coming out. So that's kind of what my focus has been on, these little mini pamphlets. I also signed a deal recently with Conspired TV, which is like a little smartphone or like a smart TV app, kind of like a Hulu. And they specialize in doing conspiracy and paranormal documentaries. So I've also just wrapped it up the rough cut today of a documentary that I've been working on memory palaces. I don't know if you guys know anything about memory palaces, like one of the coolest topics freaking ever.
No shit. We might have to have you back on for that.
Yeah, I mean,
just talk about that.
It's one of the coolest things because you can teach someone this memory device in 5 minutes, and I can teach you guys something, and you'll remember it for years.
Really?
It's like such a very easy and powerful way of transforming your mind. It's crazy they don't teach it in schools, but I mean, they don't really teach anything except for
They purposely don't teach that in schools.
Yeah.
Can't have people with that kind of power, man.
Oh, it's under the umbrella of rhetoric, and they don't teach rhetoric at all to the normies because it's so much more potent if you don't know what the hell you're up against.
Right on, man. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have you back on for that. That's some interesting shit. We cover a lot of psych stuff here. Like we covered split brain and a few other really cool things. I got some deja vu stuff coming up, and near death experiences. There's a handful of other things too that I've covered, and I love that shit. Absolutely love it. So
probably going to be working on a whole series of them. I'm calling it Mind Games for now. And every one of them is going to be about something different, but it's like a mental sort of thing. Like the second episode I'm working on now is on a combination of neuro-linguistic programming and also something called natural language processing. Sick. And how these two different things are converging right now with AI in like crazy ways. And most people, if you say NLP, you're lucky if they've even heard of one of those types.
No shit. You got a target date?
Actually, the first one on Memory Palaces should be out this week. I don't have an exact date or time yet, but if you just search, if you go to conspired.tv, that's basically like this Hulu style website, and it'll just pop up right there. It'll pop up on that screen.
Sweet. I'll watch your X account too.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll start blasting out once it's released. And yeah, hopefully if they do well, because I would love to do like a full season of these things, like maybe 12 different 20 to 30 minute episodes. But we'll see how the first 3 do first.
Hell yeah, man. Good stuff. Before we let you guys go, got to give a shout out to a mutual listener that we have, long-time listener to the Infinite Rabbit Hole, Danny.
Shout out Danny, dude.
Yeah,
Danny's all over the place. He's got the best taste in the game,
dude. He's Danny's awesome. We need to get Danny on the show. We keep talking about that. I'm gonna reach out to him tomorrow and be like, "Yo, man, just come on the show. We gotta have a chat." But yeah, Danny's phenomenal, man. He does a world's worth of work when it comes to X and stuff, just pushing the shows and everything. And
let's just fly everybody out down here to Florida, bro. We'll just kick it.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
We'll do it for Danny.
Do it for Danny, bro.
I'm down.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I'll make t-shirts. Do it for Danny.
Rip.
Hell yeah.
I love it. But all right. Anybody have any final thoughts, last words?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Fucking Jeff. What a dick.
Thanks for coming out, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for
Thank you,
joining
guys.
us.
Hell yeah, man.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, that has been another episode of the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. We'll see you right here in the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
You guys have to say bye.
Bye, guys.
All right. There it is. Hey, everybody. Thanks for checking out the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. If you're looking for more of our stuff, head on over to infiniterabbithole.com, where you can find links to all the podcast players that we are available on, and even our video platforms such as TikTok and YouTube. While you're there, make sure to check out all the links for our socials and hit that follow so you know when all the new stuff from our podcast comes out. And until next time, travelers, we'll see you right here in the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye.